Welcome, friends and fellow horse fiends. You've landed on Come Ride With Me, a podcast dedicated to helping you find harmony, joy, and success in your riding. I'm your host, Anna Fox of Equus Enlightened. This pod isn't about training your horse, but about training you to be the best partner for your horse. Listen to find out how I use my intention to direct my ride. You'll hear how I decide what to focus on, what to say yes to, and when to redirect my horse. You'll see how not getting frustrated or overwhelmed is the easiest path to sanity and harmony. So, what are you waiting for? Come ride with me. Today, I am with my friend Ebo, and he is a teen-aged, I think 16-year-old Hanoverian gelding who can be a little bit spooky. And what I mean by spooky is that he tends to see things and react to them. Some people would call him right-brained. He's more reactive than contemplative. So I'm going to just see. Sometimes he's funny. He tends to not be as spooky with me as he is with his owner. And one of the reasons I think is because I am not reactive to it. I tend to have all kinds of weird stuff going on because I have little kids. So like now we have a lacrosse goal and a water table that appears to have blown up against the, or the kids have moved up against the arena fence. I don't know. Also behind my camera is a little line of trees and a pond. That's always spooky for everybody. On this end of my arena, I have some neighbors that will often be out in their little wooded section doing work and chopping at trees and things like that. And the horses can't really see them, but they can hear it. So that can be an issue. And then down there's a barn, so that's like the good side. I'm going to set my intention to just walk around the arena in a passenger walk, like we talked about in the last podcast. This is just a fact-finding mission, right? As I start out and I start walking my horse around, I am just looking to see how they feel today, how I feel today. And since I know this horse might be spooky, I'm just going to be extra tuned into what places he might think are a little scary today. As we go through this pod, I want to give you some tools for helping with spookiness, whether it's all over the place, in random places, or just at one end of the arena. But I really want you to start to change the way you think about the horse spooking and why they might be spooking. Pivo dropped me for a minute there, but as we came around the corner going towards the scary things again, you could see him start to balk, and so I just slowed down and let him stop and let him take a look. There's no point in starting my ride off negatively by getting upset with him now or trying to force him to maintain attention and go by this place. As he's looking and he's dancing around a little bit, I am just staying really calm and using my seat to create a boundary. My seat and legs primarily. And if he goes outside of that, then I use the rein to sort of bring him back. But otherwise, I'm just sitting still. So I want to give him a minute to hang out here and process. That's why I'm kind of creating this tunnel with my hands and my seat. And I just want to see if he can process how he feels about the scary stuff, that the scary stuff isn't moving, and really work on him regulating instead of escalating the situation. After a moment of processing, he walks off really nicely from this spot. He is relaxed, doesn't go all the way over to the rail, but I'm not going to press that at the moment. So I walk down, and we're going to change direction and come back and see it out of the other eye. And you can see it's scarier from this direction, seemingly. So I'm going to go through the same process. I'm going to allow him to stand there and try to process that and regulate his nervous system rather than try to push him past it. Horses, the way their eyes are set, the way their vision is, things look different out of both eyes. So it's important to understand how the horse's vision works. And we can talk more about that at a later time. But it's important to know how the vision works and then how they will see things differently from different places, from different sides. And especially if something is moving or it moves and it wasn't moving. The next thing I want you to think about is, how do you feel when your horse spooks? Are you scared? Are you frustrated? Are you angry? Because this plays into the nervous system regulation of both you and your horse. And if one of you gets into a heightened state, it's going to, or it can cause a problem for the other party. You need to be the adult in the situation. And sometimes you also need to allow your horse to lead you away from something that they feel is dangerous, because that builds trust. And if you have a negative emotion that's associated with the spooking, just take some time, probably not when you're on your horse and he's spooking, but either away from your horse or when you and your horse are having a nice, pleasant walk and there's no spooking, and think about why you feel that way. I used to be reactive, kind of like Ebo here, and if a horse would spook, it would sort of just be my natural instinct to like give him a slap with a stick or something. Because I realized later that that was causing me fear, which would make me angry, right? So the anger was like the secondary emotion. And so anger being the secondary emotion would then cause me to lash out, because that's how I deal with fear. I have I'm going to kill it, make it dead response to fear. These are important things to know about yourself as you're working with horses. It's also important to acknowledge your horse in this partnership, right? And your horse's lack of confidence. So rather than trying to override it or dismiss this lack of confidence because you know that the thing isn't going to hurt you or your horse, you have to be able to transmit your confidence to the horse by your own calm nervous system. Getting upset or frustrated just tells them that there is something to be fearful of. And acknowledging their lack of confidence is not akin to getting away with something. And now Ebo here is feeling pretty good about just walking around, as long as I'm not putting any pressure on him to cross his boundary with the spooky stuff. He's better out of the left eye than the right. So this is all good future info, because when I start trotting, he will probably want to increase his boundary again, and he will be spookier out of the right eye than he is the left eye now, right? All of that will just compound when we go faster. We might have to practice our little aid phases, because I don't feel like he's really ready to trot. There we go. So I'm just going to tune that up. I feel like him being sluggish off my aids is a problem inside a problem and not a problem on top of a problem. He is sluggish off of my aids, so I need to work on that first, and then I can see how he's going to feel about the spooky thing at a higher speed. So I looked at it a little bit, and then we kind of changed direction, so let's do it, man. Let's go the other way. A little bit easier to move off in that direction. And I'm keeping, with him, I'm confident, so I'm not really, this trot's a little bit ridiculous. I'm not so worried about keeping a good feel on the rein. I'm just giving him a loose rein, and I'm just going to see, how does he feel about, does he want to go close to that spot or does he not? And he really doesn't want to, so that's cool. we'll just sort of work around it. And so this is one of those things, if you had a plan for the day, like I was going to practice a dressage test for a competition, and now I can't use the entire arena because, you know, he's spooking at something. Just have a plan, be prepared to change it. For any of you who have had children, it's kind of like a birth plan, right? Have your plan, but be prepared to change it because the babies will come when they want, as they want, etc. So, but don't get bent out of shape that your plan is not right on track. And right now, he's moving off of my leg. Like, he's going forward. What he's not doing is just really putting forth a lot of effort in the forward. Now that he's more comfortable with the spooky spot, he's moving more freely off of my leg. Now I can add on the go forward and maintain the energy, match my energy for a little bit longer. So I'm going to push him a little bit past the speed of the gait that I really want, and then I can let him settle back to where I want him to be. If he drops me, I send him forward again. This is a great game for any horse that has trouble maintaining the tempo. And he matched my energy to go, and then he sort of petered out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send him a bit past, like what I might like. So he decided to canter. Now I do have to be aware that at the canter, even though he really has not been putting a whole lot of stock in that spot at the trot, he might at the canter. So I just need to be aware of that, right? I'm going faster. It's going to look different. Yeah, good. Good boy. Notice there, he really stretched down as we were cantering by the spooky spot. Doesn't get any better than that with him relaxing like that. So perfect time to stop, take a break, and give him a reward. All right, so let's see how we're feeling about the spooky bits off the left eye. He is more comfortable about walking by the spooky bits. So when we ask him to trot, though, he's still not really feeling very free. So we'll work on that on this side of the arena that's not spooky. And he's way more willing at the far end of the arena. So I think that the tension in the forward transition is related to the tension about the spooky bits. Oh, very nice. Good boy. So again, they canter there instead of a trot, which wasn't exactly what I was asking for, but I'm never going to turn down a more forward response, especially from a horse that maybe doesn't necessarily like to go very forward. And so now we're just going to venture down here into the scary part of the arena. Here, Ebo changes direction instead of walking past the spooky part, but he did change direction to walk deeper into the end of the arena that he doesn't like. So I go ahead and allow him to do that and then just circle back into the direction that I was going rather than get upset or try to push him by that part. So I'm letting him lead the way a little bit, and then I kind of lead the way back a little bit. Good, so we got a little past the stuff, and when I asked him to trot, he's like, I don't know, there's all the crazy stuff over there, and I'm a little bit past where I was before, and I don't know. So we're gonna come over here, we're gonna check it out again. Getting after him, being upset about it, is not gonna make him feel any more confident. Good boy, yeah. So there, he definitely, let's go, yeah, good job. You know, he wanted to sort of bulge his shoulder out. And I just was like, well, but could you stay here? Like, could you stay in this position and be a little bent? And he was like, yeah, I could do that. Now I'm going to see, just can you go a little forward? Now we're going deeper into that end of the arena, but he's still slowing down, and I'm allowing him to slow down because he's actually getting closer to the rail as well. And he's pretty much able to maintain his bend to the inside. And then you see a really nice move off into the trot, much easier than before, and closer to the spooky part of the arena. Good boy. You know, some horses you can use the energy that's created from being a little spooky, you know, to your advantage. This horse tends to be like a stopper and spooker, so trying to ride him through it sometimes is difficult. Went to canter past it, and then he put his head up and looked, so that's fine. We can go back to the trot, or the walk even, whatever. Good boy. Good boy. Ooh, ooh, good boy. Yeah. Good man. So I could have gotten after him, and I could have been like, oh, keep going, keep cantering. Keep cantering by that. But again, it's probably not going to make him feel better about it. And if I was going to do that, I would probably let him give it a wider berth. Maybe I'll try that this time, see what happens. But if I'm actually trying to see if I'll get a bit closer to it. There we go. Come on. Good. So I'm just asking him with my leg, can you maintain the bend? I'm going to give you a little more room. I'm not going to go right up next to it. Give you a little more room, but can you maintain the bend? Can you maintain? Yeah, good. Hey guys, so my phone died right at the end of this video / podcast. And if you're watching the video, what you would see is Ebo actually cantering by the spooky part of the arena and just continuing down the long side. And he was so good about it that I would have just stopped there and given him a break anyway. And that whole thing took about 17 minutes, and I did a lot of talking and walking. So, 10 to 15 minutes of my time to just acquaint him with that area and get him feeling more comfortable about it without causing any more tension, without getting stressed out. And now, if he's comfortable enough with it, I could go back to whatever the plan I had for the day was. If he's still not quite comfortable enough, I can either keep working at it or I can go on. And what I like to do sometimes is go on, do something else for a little bit, and then go back and see if things have gotten a little better. Either way, so much better to play around and experiment with it than get everybody into an excited state or teach your horse that there's a place in the arena that they need to be afraid of, or anytime that they're unsure that you're going to be reactive to that. Staying calm and helping them figure out the situation is always a better plan. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Come Ride With Me. I know there were some changes in audio quality at times because I had to dub in spots that were not clear in the original video / audio. I'm sure I'll get better at this recording thing as I go, so forgive my learning curve. My goal is to demonstrate to riders that we don't have to do something every second of a ride. We don't have to do things a certain way or at a certain time. Just staying present with your horse and gathering non-judgmental information about how they are going is way more beneficial than overthinking and overworking. If you'd like to learn more about what I do at Equus Enlightened, you can find me at equisenlightened.net or on patreon.com/equisenlightened. You can also find me on social media as Equus Enlightened. I will put all the links in the show notes. And until next time, happy riding. Oh, before you go, please remember to rate, review, and share this pod so others can find it. I would love constructive criticism. But, like my mom used to say, if you don't have anything really nice to say, there's no need to say it. Just ride on, my friends. Have a great week.